Well, joining me right now, I've got a very special guest and someone who's actually surprised us here tonight. It is none other than Oscar winner Nicolas Cage. Great to see you. It's an absolute honor.
Thank you.
Got to ask you straight off. This is, of course, a nice Indian connection that you've got going now with us. And as our viewers watch you on Indian television as well, you've got to tell me your impressions of India.
Well, my impressions of India I only know mostly from some of my friends in the States, and also the food that I've enjoyed, the culture, through some of the restaurants that I've gone to, which I find Indian food to be divine, as you know. It's just magical. But I have not been to India yet, so I'm hopeful that maybe as a result of this I will be invited to go to India, maybe work with an Indian filmmaker, work with some of your stars, because I believe that anytime you go to a new place as an actor, you soak up the genie of the place, the genus loci, the culture, and it informs performance. And I'm hopeful that I'll be able to do that in India one day. I almost came close on a movie called Darjeeling Limited, but it didn't work out.
I remember that actually. Yeah. I was going to ask you, and you've kind of preempted a whole lot of my questions, because India, or Indian movies in particular, over the past few years, they've been in focus. You know, at the film festivals, you're seeing a lot of our filmmakers now getting out there and reaching out to global audiences as well. What about it attracts you? I mean, is it the cliche of Bollywood, or is it more than that?
Well, for me, it's certainly not the cliche of anything. I have a genuine interest in learning something. I want to meet people and absorb culture, and I want to have a guide and want to be taught where the magic is in India, and I want to learn about that. That's why I would like to go. It's because, I mean, so many things have changed the world over time and history as a result of coming out of India. I mean, the astrology and the stars and the zodiac, all that stuff began thousands and thousands of years ago in your country.
It is a fascinating country, but you don't have to take my word for it. One of your former co-stars, John Travolta, has talked about coming in and doing a Bollywood film as well. So maybe the two of you could do a repeat of Face Off.
Maybe that would be the chance to do Face Off in India. That would be exciting. Yeah, too. I've been trying to make that movie for the last 20 years. Not 20 years, but 15 years. I've been wanting to make Face Off again and do it with John. But it's hard to get people to understand where to go with the script because of the way it ends.
And I can tell you it was one of your biggest hits in India. Talk us through this, though. I mean, the kind of movies that you've done. There's been such a wide array of films. You can't really slot Nicolas Cage as, a particular type of actor. How do you approach a new film? What attracts you to a script or a movie?
Well, first, I have to know whether or not I'll learn something. Again, I see myself as a student. I would never call myself a maestro. I'm a student, and so that means I'm not going for grades. I'm going for an education. I want to try new things. I want to be eclectic in the kinds of roles I take and the kinds of genres I do. I'm not a snob. I want to do everything. I want to do horror. I want to do dramatic movies. I want to do comedies. I want to do adventure films. So for me, it's about what have I gone through in my life that will give me the emotional wisdom to play the part.
All right. In a lot of your movies, we've also seen some terrific chase sequences, a lot of action, and of course lots of cool cars and bikes. Anything in particular that really sort of stands out as your own favorite?
I mean, I really love the motorcycles in the Ghost Rider movies. I enjoyed all of that. It was like a chance to express multiple sides of my interests. I had an interest in the comic book culture and also in this, the horror film that Ghost Rider supplies, that supernatural aspect, and also motorcycles themselves are marvelous creations. So that I got to hit all those elements in one movie.
Now, a lot of people talk about your love for the automobile. I mean, you've driven some cool cars in the movies, but you have a lot of cool cars that you've driven outside of that as well. We've got a cool one back here as well. Talk to us about that. I mean, what drives it for you?
Well, I have always been passionate about automobiles. It's true, but my grandfather had an Audi when I was growing up, and he would drive with me in the car, and I would listen to music with him in that car. And one of the things that I was very impressed by the car was it was diesel engine. Diesel, many people may not know, is actually far better for the environment than other kinds of automobiles. I'm not going to name anybody, but there are issues with some of these other kind of pro-green cars that aren't necessarily green, whereas this diesel to me in a way actually helps with the environment.
Audi does a lot of diesels as well, and in India, diesel is pretty popular too, especially with brands like this, the German brands. I mean, Audi, has a lot of very popular diesel engine models. You think that'll change in the U.S.?
I hope so. I drive a diesel in the U.S., and I probably will be getting the new AL in the diesel when it comes out in the States. And I feel good knowing that I'm contributing in some way.
All right, one last question then. You got to tell me about what you're doing right now. We've heard about Joe, of course, but what are you working on? Is there National Treasure 3 happening?
There's discussion about it. We all want to do it. Everybody, we all
want to see it.
Thank you. All the elements, all the auspices want to make the movie. It's just that, unlike some of the other movies, where you can pretty much, like the Pirates films, you can pretty much write anything you want because it's fantasy. The National Treasure movies have to be historically accurate. They have to be authentic, otherwise it doesn't work. And that takes a little more thought to put that together, and that's what they're working on now.
All right, we wish you all the very best.
Thank you very much.
We
Thanks
hope
for the
to
interview.
see you in India.
I hope so too.
I mean, that goes without saying. Thank you.
Thank you so much.